Yes, I can hear you just fine.
All right, cool.
Okay. So, what is your name?
My name is Pavel. Spelled Pavel. I'm not comfortable with sharing my last name.
That's perfectly fine. I understand that. What is your age?
31.
And if you are comfortable with, what is your job? What do you do?
I work in the petrochemical industry in the logistical part of it. Basically, organizing transportation and other issues, surrounding the handling of plastics, and making sure that lots of plastics, get transported from one end of the continent to the other.
And tell me where the Czech Republic is located at.
Well, in relation to what?
Like what kind? Like, is it by Europe or?
Yeah, well, it is in Europe, between in smack dab in the middle, between Germany, Austria, Slovakia, and Poland. Well, given we are supposed to be talking about Ukraine, it is one country over from Ukraine, that is Slovakia, some 300 miles, I would say, maybe less, west of Ukraine.
And how did you hear about the Ukraine crisis?
How could I not? It's everywhere. So you understand a wee bit more. We are basically in a state of war here. Despite we are not specifically in the fighting, but everything, in the war, but everything is focused on the fight. Right now, all the media coverage is covering it and stuff like that. It's going all on war. We are taking some wartime measures, etc. So literally impossible not to hear about the Russian aggression in Ukraine.
What do you think of Putin trying to invade Ukraine?
Well, he invaded them. He's not trying to invade them. But, well, what do I think of that? Well, there's so many levels of that. First of all, it's wrong. There's never an excuse to invade. I would say, well, mine is a genocide, which, well, he says that was, which is absolute bullshit, but sorry for cursing, but, yeah. That is simply not happening there. Minus genocide, there's never a reason in my mind to invade a country. Now, that's one way how to look at it. Another way is it was absolutely under. When it comes to superpowers, you need to, in order to force them to do what is desirable and to prevent them from doing what is undesirable, you need to always make the undesirable thing more costly than the desirable thing. And simply put, West was taking away motivation from Putin why not to invade Ukraine. I'm in no shape or form saying that it justifies it. I'm just pointing to the failure of diplomacy when it comes to the West.
Do you think the United States of America should have any part in Ukraine's crisis?
Well, since I believe that the United States of America... I apologize, my navigation started to load. I not only suspect, but I'm participation, not directly, obviously. That is just a fantasy. Whoever thinks that like United States will send active military and stuff like that to Ukraine, that is just that's a lunacy. But for example, helping like on the humanitarian level, absolutely. They should, United States of America should absolutely help out, like Ukrainian refugees. Yeah, absolutely. They should think about supplying, their army with arms and stuff like that, which they were, by the way, so you understand, what I mean by that is that they were more than happy to supply Ukraine just before the war started. That was a very aggressive language, like United States, by the way, meaning government, not the people. That was very aggressive language going towards Russia and stuff like that. And now that the fighting started, it's like, we better think about it. We better consult with our allies and stuff like that. We don't think that's the best, like course and stuff like that. So, there's a dramatic change, and I suspect it's mostly because the invasion / the war was desired by United States government for the reason of pushing Russia away from EU energy markets and to secure monopoly for their exporting their energies.
And why do you think they're doing that?
Well, for profit for that, like France and stuff like that, because all the natural gas industry and oil industry is the biggest, like are one of the biggest. Now, actually, I think it is actually the biggest sponsor, or not sponsor, contributor to American politicians, and well, they are just covering their buddies back, having their buddies back, and at the detriment of people not only Europe but all over the world, including the United States of America, because I believe that every single one of you have noticed that your electricity bills are going up for quite some time, that your gas prices are going up for quite some time, and your food prices are going up for quite some time, and it is all as a direct consequence of this aggressive policy. And I don't mean just like since the beginning of the war, how the mainstream media says. No, this was happening for years and years, mostly because of the sanctions on a Nord Stream 2 natural gas pipeline from Russia to Germany.
And from your perspective, how have you heard about how many people have been killed so far?
And it's impossible to tell. Like we're most likely looking at thousands, possibly tens of thousands. Impossible to tell is because there's so much propaganda surrounding it, like on every side. Ukraine is saying that they killed 10,000 Russian combatants, for example, which I found a ludicrous number. Just so you understand, in the whole the war in Iraq, or the United States of America lost 4,500 service members over all those years. 10,000, is simply a ludicrous number. On the other hand, you need to. It could be possible because Russia was apparently sending untrained recruits in the war with the hopes that they will be welcomed as liberators. That could have been the case, but still, the number is so high. On the other hand, Russia is saying that they lost 500 men so far, which also doesn't seem to be the case. So, impossible to tell. Now, the same thing about the civilian casualties. Ukraine obviously has incentive to report as many civilian casualties as possible, because they are waging war for their survival, and in war the truth is the first casualty. That's simple how it is. It's the nature of the beast.
And did you hear about the warships around Snake Island? How they were trying to bomb other people, and there were a couple Russian citizens that were hoping that Putin would be put down permanently.
Can you repeat that again?
I said, did you hear about Snake Island and the Russian warships? How they were bombing a lot of people, and some of the Russian citizens were hoping that Putin will be put down permanently. Did you hear about that?
No, not as of yet. But yeah, like so I understand that there's right now a lot of resistance even among Russians going against Putin. So yeah, it would not surprise me in the slightest.
And where are the refugees located? Like, in what areas?
Well, they are running, like west, like north, like to the EU, because they are surrounded by, they are bordering either Russia or Belarus, which they are getting invaded from there. Other than that, they are surrounded by EU countries, and also they are running to the west. That is Poland, Slovakia, Romania, and Hungary. Yeah.
How have you decided to help the refugees?
I opened my home to them.
Like, you physically let them inside your house?
Well, yeah, I'm I'm in contact with Ukrainian embassy in Prague, and they have been listed as possible accommodation for the refugees as the time goes by.
Do you think your efforts have helped at all?
My efforts, well, depends. My efforts were show the people, especially in the West, the truth, like what is happening with my video creation. And I included links and stuff like that for helping, like to raise funds for humanitarian aid, and also to raise funds for the Ukrainian army. I know that some of my viewers donated, so yeah, like in some limited fashion, yes.
Have you gone down to the border or Poland or anywhere in those locations to talk to the other refugees?
No. It's on the other, it's completely on the other side of the country, and my help would be there, like limited. In my opinion, I'm far better suited to continue my work, because it is, high income work, and better to give that money, like that I earn some part of it, like to help the people instead of myself, like being there working, basically humanitarian aid, which, to be honest, would not really for humanitarian workers are no great need, because of just how many people are there helping from all over Europe.
Where are they keeping the refugees? I mean, are they in tents or?
No, there are plenty of businesses opened their doors, like hotels, motels, and stuff like that. So there are, for example, situated. Plenty of refugees have family all around Europe, so they went, to them, and what else? And plenty of people simply open their homes to refugees. So yeah, it's all organized, through governments of various countries, or with cooperation with embassies and stuff like that in those specific countries.
And were you concerned for your safety at all concerning these refugees, that maybe some of them may not be actual refugees, but there to hurt people?
Well, the risk is always, like every demographic has bad people. Every single demographic on this planet has assholes, and has criminals and rapists and stuff like that. Why should I be concerned about them? I'm armed. They can try to start some trouble. You know what I mean? Like that. It doesn't matter if I get if I get jumped by a Czech, Italian, German, or Ukrainian person. I am the person who's chiefly responsible for my own safety. So yeah, that's about it.
And have you, what have they talked to you about? Because I know you just said that you open your home to them. Have they told you their concerns and how they feel about what's going on?
I spoke only with some Ukrainians, so far, but because I don't know if you caught that, but as of now, don't have any refugees in my home. I have, it's just open to them, and I'm waiting, for on contact from Ukrainian embassy. That said, I spoke with some Ukrainians because just cannot miss them, and the cars and stuff like that, they are everywhere. Running west, so I spoke with some, and it varies. It's in complete disbelief. Sometimes they just can't believe it's really happening. First, at least it was the first initial reaction. Now it's a lot of anger, obviously, and plenty of fear too, because so you understand, the people mostly running are women and children, because the men need to stay behind and fight. So there's plenty of fear, not only for the country, but also for their husbands, their boyfriends, their fathers, and stuff like that. So yeah.
And what do you think Putin hopes to gain from trying to start this whole crisis?
One of the things that he aims to do is definitely secure his western border. He simply he does not trust NATO at all, and that's simply a fact. Doesn't matter if NATO is a peaceful organization. Say what?
Can you repeat what you said? He doesn't trust who?
He doesn't trust NATO. And Ukraine was basically on a path to join up NATO. So yeah, he aims to secure his western border as much as he can. He was cut out of Western markets, but given the actions of United States of America, that was already happening, and so he, in my opinion, aims to secure his western border and to go in bed basically with China, supplement the lost Western European markets with the Chinese one. We will see how that will play out, because China is sending some mixed messages. So my conclusion from that is that either China is deceitful to the deceiving the West, or China is maybe double-crossed Putin, but that is impossible to know as of now. You're going to have to wait and see how that will play out.
Do you I don't know if you know much about this, but do you think if Trump was still in office that this whole Ukraine crisis wouldn't have started, or it would have been less severe?
It's hard to say, because President of the United States can do so much. A lot of the pressure simply was coming from on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline was coming from Congress and the Senate, and they even overvote. They have overvoted the veto of Trump in December 2021, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but yeah. But December 2020. but I honestly forgot. Anyway, they overvoted Trump veto on sanctions on the Nord Stream, and basically, so you understand, that was one of the things that Putin was losing. Again, when you are dealing with superpower, you need to make. You cannot force them to do stuff. Superpower will do what they want. You can just do it more costly for them. Like make cost slash price. The cost slash benefit, like balance in such a way that you would make the superpower do what is desirable, and simply put, slashing Nord Stream 2 and then all the war rhetoric coming from the West that definitely convince Putin for that invasion. Again, I'm not justifying it. It's just how superpowers work. It's still wrong, but it is a failure of diplomacy. Now, with Trump, that is hard because, again, while he tried to veto those sanctions on Nord Stream 2, he was overruled by Senate and by Congress. So I have not a slightest idea. Not to mention that his speeches to it, and stuff like that. It's Trump, you never know what's up with Trump. So I cannot say. That said, with Joe Biden and his history, especially when he was pushing the war in Iraq and other things that I don't want to go into because I'm currently working on another video. I've seen this war coming from a mile away. Actually more than a mile. I wanted to talk about it 8 months ago with a V Radio and Johnny Walker Dread. However, they were completely unprepared to have that discussion at the time.
And what do you think of Lindsey Graham saying that Putin should be assassinated?
Well, now Putin is our enemy. It doesn't look in war. It doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. The only thing that war decides is who's left. So Putin is now our enemy, and so he gets assassinated. And he gets assassinated. I will not be shedding any tears over for him.
Are you concerned that where you're located will be bombed?
Not in the slightest. We are NATO countries, and given the troubles Russia has in Ukraine already, it would be downright suicidal to try to push west, because our equipment is far more modern, far more numerous. We are far better coordinated. Not to mention, I'm sorry, attack on NATO is attack on all of it. United States is part of NATO. No, that's not happening.
What do you think we could all learn from this?
From this, if you want peace, prepare for war. Europe completely, absolutely forgot this. Absolutely, undeniably forgot this. This is an ancient proverb. That is a wisdom that was passed down to us by our forefathers since the beginning of our species. And Europe was weak. I hope they will learn their lesson and get strong, not only militarily, but also politically, because EU is incredibly divided, and they focus on completely in unimportant things instead of figuring out, for example, common energy policy, which is the main reason why we are right now in this mess.
And I know you're just one person, but what do you think it would take to stop all this?
It can still be, overcome diplomatically. I don't want to be disclosing that right now because I have, but that will be simply put in in my video.
And what is your? I'm sorry.
It will be to a degree in my video that it's complicated. Simply put, when it comes to this, I have certain plans.
And You're a YouTuber, correct?
Well, small time, yeah.
And what is your channel's name?
Logical Checkmate. It's not
Right.
only for the pun, as I'm a Czech, but yeah, quite analytical, as was shown, so your readers or listeners understand. After I published my video, I was actually offered to work in an IT in analytics because just of the amount of information that I needed to process, analyze, onto the conclusions that I came to. So I was contacted by a friend, or well, simply put, a friend that works in IT offered me this job, running with her boss and stuff like that. He agrees that I have what it takes, which is, especially since I have absolutely zero background in IT, more than surprising. But hey, that I guess speaks about something. Not to mention that. Again, I try to speak or warn people of precisely this 8 months ago, but I simply didn't have any following at the time, so I was unsuccessful in my endeavor.
Why do you think your channel has grown so much?
Truth. People who, I speak only about things that I have wide some understanding about, and simply put, people have seen that. People who like are smart themselves, and for example, V-Radio helped me a lot when it comes to this sharing of my content, and especially he used his contacts and helped or asked good logic as a lawyer from United States. He has a channel with some 40,000 subscribers, and he basically shared it with him. He's seen the truth there that I've shown in my video, plain as day, and he considered a problem. So he shared it then with his viewers. They basically they swollen the ranks of my subscribers as well. So I'm very grateful to those two people. Other than that, it's simply put, it's not that I don't make mistakes, but those are, let's say, understandable mistakes, or I don't fabricate stuff. I don't make up stuff. I talk about what I understand, what I know, and people simply want to see the truth. At least some. Plenty of them still shut their eyes from it, but yeah, not everyone.
And why did you start it, and what's the main focus of it?
The main focus is to basically debunk media. I apologize, currently driving. The main focus is to debunk media narratives, like to show people the truth, like to debunk double standards and stuff like that. Because for me, and it is a culture thing in my nation, the most important thing is free will. And if media lies, they take away our free will from us, because we then decide to take action or not to take action based on false information, and I simply cannot abide that.
Why did what made you want to start making a YouTube channel?
I got into it with Kyle Rittenhouse because, simply put, the lies there were so blatant that I was like, okay, this is too much. Media will start wars way too easy like that. The truth was there, plain to see, yet they convinced half of the United States of America that Kyle Rittenhouse was a crazed killer. And I said, that's too much, and I can either sit on my ass or try to do something about it. So here I am.
And as a last thought, what could you possibly do to inspire people to counteract what the media says to get them motivated to fight against the media besides just posting their thoughts on social media?
Well, that you will find it in my next video, basically.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
So what?
Could you elaborate a little bit more?
Well,
on that?
no, actually no, because this is something that cannot be read. This is something that must be seen and heard. You need to put a face behind it, like towards which will direct either understanding or feelings of anger.
I started this whole journalism and stuff like that because of the Kyle Rittenhouse case myself. Before 2020, I didn't really care about politics or anything like that, but once it kind of started hitting home and everything that's been going on, it opened my eyes to so much, and I'm glad that I got to have a chance to speak to you and get to know you and stuff like that, because we all have common interests and we want the truth to come out, and we need to speak our minds and not, be afraid of the media. Do you believe that the media has twisted what's really going on in Ukraine and Russia? What if it's a propaganda?
Well, that is like this. They don't twist things when it comes to this. They simply believe what they are being told. They pass on what they simply pass on what they are being told, and then they can wash their hands of it. They don't fact check. They don't go through details. For example, before the war started, they were constantly saying how the separatists in east of Ukraine were basically escalating the whole situation, and yet the only source that they were citing were, for example, Western powers, be it the intelligence from United States or United Kingdom, or from Ukraine itself. But they've never a single time used OSCE reports, so your viewers, listeners, and readers understand OSCE is basically European, UN, and stuff like that, independent multinational organization that was there sent to monitor and report on what's happening. And their reports clearly and analytically indicated that both sides were shooting at each other in violation of ceasefire. Yet Western media were only taking the information from Ukraine and from Western powers. Like, what is that? How is it possible? And they were only to nitpick information that would help them drive a narrative. That, again, how is it possible? That is a very bad journalism, and that, again, is stripping us, the people, of a free will. I simply cannot abide that. And another thing is that it's not like some secret. The OSCE publishes these reports every day on their website, and they have even phone numbers for their people there that you can literally call and just be like, "Hey, I'm from CNN. Could you tell me a few things? Who's doing this shooting and stuff like that?" And they never did that. How is that possible? Well, it is possible because, they were okay with telling us only one-sided information. And I'm sorry, for a conflict, for a war, you need two sides at least.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part?
For any conflict, for any war, you need at least two sides, and they were reporting only the one from the one side. And that, I'm sorry, how then as the people can form a full picture and then decide based on that.
Why do you think they're trying to create a false narrative?
Well, simply put, because that's the name of the game. They are just part of part of government apparatus, if you would. Like they are playing the ball game, like with governments. So yeah.
Do you think that the Russian government is authoritarian?
Absolutely. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like that said, there's for example a false West that Putin is only and only bad for Russia, which is I'm sorry, that is simply absolutely undeniably not true. Because right after, so you understand, after the fall of Soviet Union, when Boris Yeltsin was president, he was driving down the economy, throwing down the drain, flushing down the toilet. Like it was just in a free fall. The Russian economy, I think the GDP output shrunk to 30% at the end. Putin completely and absolutely turned this around. And the GDP basically fell apart since he was in power, and people in poverty, like the number of people in poverty significantly decreased, not to mention like the number of alcoholics and stuff like that. So what he is doing, he's an authoritarian, but he definitely brings he brought also improvement to the Russian people when it comes to their standard of living. That is undeniable.
Do you think that Putin should resign?
Well, who are you asking, basically? Are you asking Russian people, that's completely up to them, who should he resign? Like, for whom? For us? So we feel safer? Yeah, sure. Will he do that? No, absolutely not. So the only level where you can ask if he will resign is only because he's a Russian politician, he's a Russian statesman, if what he is doing is bad for Russian people. That's up to them, and we will see, because this is a developing situation. We will see how it will go. As I mentioned before, there's currently a development with China. We will see how that will go, if China will basically support Russia and will open their markets. Publicly they are saying no, but also they are signing new contracts when it comes to gas pipelines. So China can be pulling basically a sneaky on us, be playing nice with us, with the West, while being very buddy with Russia, on the side. We will see how it will play out. So yeah, when it comes to us feeling safe, yeah, sure, West would be feeling safer, without Putin. On the other hand, there's also a question you need to ask: who would come after him? And let's say, for example, with the assassination attempt, like that, Lindsey Graham said, would that create a power vacuum? Who would take over? Would Russia then fall into civil war? And do we want that? Like, seriously? Nuclear superpower, where you would have a competing factions, Like, do we want that? I don't think we want that. I'm just saying. Yeah, so those are tough questions, yeah.
And I'll be wrapping this up, so if there's any last word of advice you can give to our audience, what would it be?
Stockpile on food. Food will be getting really expensive, because both Ukraine and Russia is the biggest exporter in the world of grain, and Ukraine is the sixth. Not to mention Russia is the biggest exporter of fertilizers, and so on and so on and so on. So food will be going really expensive over the upcoming months, and yeah, so I would really stockpile while it's somewhat cheap. I would recommend pasta and tomato sauce. You can live on that forever, basically, and just chug in and out some stuff.
Yeah, be prepared to live like you're poor. You got to adapt to what's been going on until things get better, and it might be quite a while before that happens. So thank you, Paul, for coming on here and doing this interview with me. I really appreciate your time.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. With you and with your audience.
All right. Well, I hope you have a really nice day and be safe.
Yeah. We'll definitely try to. I would just like to apologize to the audience. I have incredibly busy schedule, so we could have fit this interview only when I'm driving. So, yeah, I'm sorry for the navigation, speaking here and there, and for some noise.
It's perfectly fine. Everyone appreciates you coming on here anyway. Well, talk to you later, Paul. Goodbye.
Cheers, Barbs.